On our desert island this week is the film actor Omar Sharif. Have you ever daydreamed about being alone on a desert island?
I suppose everybody has at some time or other because of all the children's literature. And Robinson Crusoe
Yes.
was one of my favorite books. And I've often wondered if I could possibly ever do what he'd done.
Could you endure solitude?
Well, I am a very lonely person, and I don't mean that in a sad way. I'm lonely in the sense that I live alone. I have not got many friends because I traveled a lot and I've worked very hard, and I was sort of disrooted from my country when I made Lawrence of Arabia and came and lived in Europe. And I do live in a climate of solitude, rather, but I think I enjoy that. And so that I think that I wouldn't mind very much being on a desert island. I rather like my own company better than people's company.
Is music important to you?
I wouldn't say it was important in the sense that I sit and listen to music, but I like to have music playing whatever I'm doing.
Do you play music yourself? Do you play an instrument?
No, I used to when I was young. I used to play a very, very strange instrument. I mean, one wouldn't think of playing that instrument, and that was the accordion. And one day when I was 16, and I had my first girlfriend, and I'd promised to take her out to dinner. And I didn't have any money to take her out to dinner, so I sold it, and I gave that up.
What's the first of the 8 records you've chosen to take with you?
Well, I thought the first record I should have with me is a record of Frank Sinatra's, because that music reminds me of my first girlfriend and my first love affairs when I was a young man.
When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you. All the way, happy to be near you when you need someone to cheer you. All the way. Taller than the tallest trees, that's how it's got to feel. Deeper than the deep blue sea is, that's how deep it goes, if it's real. When somebody needs you, it's no good unless he needs you. All the way, through the good or lean years, and for all the in-between years, come what may. Who knows where the road will lead us? Only a fool would say. But if you let me love you, it's for sure I'm gonna love you all the way, all the way.
Frank Sinatra, All the Way. You were born in Alexandria. Were you educated there?
No, because my family moved to Cairo when I was 4 years old. And I went to an English school in Cairo. In those days, Egypt was a protectorate.
Yes.
And we had very good public schools, like English public schools, even more British than the real thing, because in the colonies everything was exaggeratedly British.
You were a very good cricketer, I believe.
No, I was a fairly useful cricketer, all-rounder, and I brought a team to England and toured England with a side called the Egyptian Cricket Club, and we played against the second 11 of universities at Oxford and
Yes.
Cambridge.
You're a good linguist. You have how many languages? French, English, and
6
Arabic.
languages, actually. I have French, English, Arabic, Spanish, Italian, and Greek.
Mm-hmm.
All the Mediterranean languages.
Yes. As a schoolboy, what did you want to be?
I was very good at maths and physics at school, and my teachers wanted me to become a mathematician or a physicist. But we had a lovely theater at my school, which incidentally was called Victoria College, very famous school in the Middle East. And I became interested in theater when I did my first school play, which was a play by A.A. Milne called The Invisible Duke. I'll never forget, I was playing the Duke, and I spent about half the play hidden in a trunk because I was supposed to be not on the stage, but I was on the stage in that trunk. And from that time, from the day I played this very first part on stage, I decided that I wanted to be an actor, whatever my teachers wanted and whatever my parents desired me to do.
Yes. In fact, you had to go into your father's business for a while.
Yes, because my father wouldn't let me become an actor at the beginning. He wouldn't accept the idea of my being an actor. And we'd had this business in the family, this timber business, for generations, and I was an only son, and my father said, well, I can't let you not inherit this business. So he sort of forced me to work in the timber business for a couple of years, and I was very bad at it, and I think rather intentionally, so that he would fire me. And I used to sell everything at a loss until one day he said, I think you're not made for this. Go and do what you want.
And what you wanted was, of course, films and theatre.
Yes. I applied to come to England and audition for RADA, Academy of Dramatic Arts. And just 15 days before I was supposed to come over, I met a friend of mine who had become by then a director, a film director. He had studied in America, and I was having a cup of tea at Groppi's, which is a famous tea place in Cairo. And he walked in and he said, I hear you're leaving to study acting. He said, and I've got this film that I'm going to start. Would you like to test for the leading part? And I said yes, and I did, and I got the part.
That's the beginning of your real career, so let's break at this point for your second record. What's that to be?
Well, I think I'd also like to have with me on the island a record by Donna Summer, because also my son likes her very much. He introduced me to her. He made me learn how to like her and love her. And so this is Donna Summer singing Wasted.
Since you left me, I
a summer singing Wasted. So you played in your first film The Blazing Sun, wasn't it?
Yes, that was my first Egyptian film.
And it caused rather a stir, I believe. It was the first Arabic film to feature a kiss.
No, it was not the first Arabic film to feature a kiss, but it was the first time that particular leading lady, who was the most, and still is, the most famous actress in the Middle East, had ever been kissed on screen.
Well, you were doing very well as an actor in Egypt, and along came a very big Anglo-American production. And of course you know which one I'm referring to, Lawrence of Arabia. They were looking for someone to play Ali, the Arab leader. Did you put in for the part? How did it come about that you played in the film?
They were having trouble casting that part because David Lean, the director, wanted someone who looked absolutely genuine, who would not appear to be a disguised European. And he wanted someone with dark eyes to contrast with Peter O'Toole's light blue eyes. And they had found nobody satisfactory. And at the last moment, Sam Spiegel, the producer, had signed up an actor without telling David Lean and sent him out to the desert. And the moment he got off the plane, Lean said, "That's no good, he's got green eyes, we can't have that." And they were pretty desperate. So as a last resort, David Lean asked his assistants to find him photographs of all the existing Arab actors. And they produced about 1,500 photographs. And he went through all these photographs, and by a miracle for me, he stopped upon mine and said, "This one, go and see if he speaks any English, and if he does, send him out to the desert."
Yes.
That's exactly what happened.
There was no studio work in the film at all, was there?
No, we did 7 months out in Jordan, and then we went to Spain for about 7 months, and then we went to Morocco, to the Sahara Desert, for 3 months.
Now, as a result of the success of that film, a singularly successful one it was, you were offered a contract by the production company. Was it a long-term one?
Yes, they had me for 7 years. In those days, it was still the days of the sort of big studios and big companies. And actors were like properties. They belonged to these studios. And they had me for 7 years. And they were the ones who started this whole publicity campaign about me. And they decided, should we try and make up a new Valentino or something? And they were marketing me in a way. And there was nothing I could do or say about it.
You've never been able to live down this press agentry about the screen's romantic lover and all the rest of it. It
Absolutely,
still goes on.
Yes. It still goes on. I think that there's nothing I can do about it. Mm-hmm. It's very far from the truth. I mean, I don't in any way resemble the image of myself that I read about or hear about. It is very remote from me.
You were released from your contract to make another film for David Lean.
Yes, fortunately. Yes, I was making a film at the time in Yugoslavia called Genghis Khan. And I knew David was going to make a film of Doctor Zhivago. And so I quickly read the novel to see if there was a part in it for me. And I called my agents and I said, please go and see David. And I'd picked a lovely little part because I'd never even entertained the idea that he would ever ask me to play Dr. Zhivago. Somehow it didn't occur to me that I could do that. So I had chosen the part of Pasha, which eventually was played by Tom Courtenay. You see how different.
Yes.
And I sent my agent to see David and to say, Omar read the book and he thinks Pasha he could do very well and all. And David said to my agent, but ask him if he'd consider to play the title part. So my agent called me when I was in Belgrade, and I was on the phone, and he said, well, I talked to David about what you asked me, and he doesn't think you're right for that part. And I said, oh, what a pity. And he said, but on the other hand, he's asking, would you consider to play the title part? And I was mad with happiness.
Yeah. So after all that sand, you had all that snow?
Absolutely, yes, from the desert to the snows.
Wouldn't it have been lovely if we'd met before?
Before we did. Yes.
We'd have got married, had a house and children. If we'd had children, Yuri, would you like a boy or a girl?
I think we may go mad if we think about all that.
I shall always think about it. Will you write today?
No, not today.
I liked Omar very much when we worked on Lawrence, and he's wonderful at taking suggestions. And I thought, well, Russian, they could be rather in that part of the world, Manchuria, and so we straightened his hair and we pulled his eyes back with tape to take the orbs out of it. He's still got hacked to bits in the press because of his orbs. And I think he did very well.
Yes, he did, yeah.
He did, you know, and people sort of laugh at Omar. He was very successful, tremendously good looking, which people don't really like.
Women seem to like it.
Oh, they like it, right, yes.
Now, looking down those contract films, they seem to have made you a kind of all-purpose foreigner. You played a Spanish priest, Genghis Khan, a German policeman, a Mexican cowboy, an Austrian prince. Now, most of these were in epics where the spectacle was more important. They didn't give you much chance to stretch yourself as an actor.
Yes, I had only a couple, 2 or 3 opportunities in films to stretch myself. But most of the time, it's true that they asked me to play sort of foreign lovers. And foreign could be anything at all. Because although I have an accent when I speak any of the languages I speak, it's not a precise accent. I mean, it's not a French accent, it's not an Italian accent, it's not a Spanish accent. It could be anything. You just know he's a foreigner.
Well, let's have your third record. What have you chosen next?
I think I'd like to have with me a record of Liza Minnelli, because I know her and I love her very dearly. And I'd like, I think, to have Nevertheless, I'm in Love with You.
Liza Minnelli. Which have been the films during recent years which have meant most to you, which you think are the best performances?
Well, I like The Horseman, although it didn't do very well, but it's a film that I like quite a lot because I have a great love for horses. And seeing these horsemen in Afghanistan was a wonderful thing for me. The extraordinary horsemen, these very special, they don't resemble any other horsemen in the world, these the horsemen who play this game called the Buzkashi. I enjoyed making that film. I enjoyed the last film that I made, although it didn't do well either, because this last film we improvised it. We had not a script and no dialogue. And for the first time I felt a certain freedom while I was acting, because I could say the words I wanted and make them up as I went along. And it was a wonderful experience for me.
What's the title of it?
It was called here, I think, Crime and Passion. Directed by Ivan Pasa, a Czechoslovak director who lives in New York, and with a wonderful actress called Karen Black.
Record number 4.
I think we'll have a change of rhythm with Pink Floyd, Wish You Were Here.
So you think you could tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange a walk-on part in the war for a lead role in a cage?
Pink Floyd. Omar, this obsession you have, and I believe it is an obsession for bridge, when did that start? At what period in your life did you become a card player?
It was an accident, you know. I think it could have been fishing, maybe, or golf. But what happened was, when I was making my first film, I realized that there was such a waste of time between shots, between scenes, while they were setting up the lights and the cameras, and that the great danger for a film actor was to get bored during these periods when you're waiting. And I picked up an old book that was lying about, and it was a bridge book. And I'm sure if it had been a book about something else, I might have been interested in something else. And it just happened to fascinate me, and I took it up from that moment.
You're a world-class player. What is your secret? Do you have a system, a discipline of memorizing every card played?
No, I don't think that you need that very much. What you need to have to become a good player at bridge is, first of all, to have a great passion for it, because it's a very difficult game to learn, and it takes a very long time, and generally people give up before they've had time to enjoy the intricacies of it. It takes over 2 years to become an average bridge player. And people give it up because they think they're not gifted for it. But in fact, if you go on and persevere and try to get better, you do eventually. But no one has that amount of time to waste.
Are you superstitious? So many card players are.
I suppose I am.
As far as bridge playing is concerned, I mean, do you want to wear the same pair of socks at a championship?
Well, if I've done very well the day before, I just don't change anything that I'm wearing, however dirty they are.
What's your next record?
Now, I think I'd like to have one of my all-time favorite ladies, and that's Edith Piaf. And we'll have her doing her great classic, La Vie en Rose.
Hold me close and hold me fast, the magic spell you cast, this is love your rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see love your rose. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be love your rose. I thought that love was just a word they sang about in songs I heard. It took your kisses to reveal that I was wrong and love is real. Hold me close and hold me fast, the magic spell you cast, this is love your rose. When you kiss me, heaven sighs, and though I close my eyes, I see love your roses. When you press me to your heart, I'm in a world apart, a world where roses bloom. And when you speak, angels sing from above. Everyday words seem to turn into love songs. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be love your rose. La da 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 da. That's
Edith Piaf. Now, we talked about cards. Your other passion, horses. You keep a stable.
Yes, I keep a stable, but it's not a very large stable. What I'm really fascinated with is the breeding aspect in racing horses. And I have a little share in a stud farm in Normandy, where I keep just a few mares, the 5 mares, and every year I study the bloodlines and try to send them to the best possible stallion that I can get. And it's very exciting when spring comes and the little foals are born. It's one of the greatest thrills in the world to see a foal being born and feeling, well, maybe this little horse will win the Derby one day.
What are your present activities? You've collaborated on a book about yourself.
Yes. You know, I read so much about myself, and I felt that this wasn't quite right. And I decided, well, I'm going to do an interview with myself and see if I'll agree more with my own interviewing of myself than with what was written about me. And it's a lot of my impressions and a lot of the great and famous people that I met in my life. And I thought that I would allow the public to share in these experiences that I had. Also, the experience of arriving in Hollywood during the last glamorous days of Hollywood, when there were still huge movie stars and big producers, and people gave the most fabulous parties where you saw the most glamorous women and the most handsome men and all that. And I just thought that I would put this down in any order as they came to my mind. Also a little bit about my childhood, my background, a bit about my mom and dad and all that.
What next?
A few years ago in New York, I discovered a young musician, and he became then extremely famous. And he's written letters to me since telling me, "You were right, I am good." And this is Barry White.
Oh, yes. Where did you find him?
In a little place in New York, in a little place in Harlem, where he was playing. And I thought he was brilliant, and I told him so. And he was totally unknown at the time. And he became extremely famous overnight, and for 2 or 3 years you heard nothing but Barry White. And this is him doing Let the Music Play.
One ticket, please. Lord have mercy, everybody's here. Hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, she's at home. Yeah, she's at home. Yeah, she's at home. Let the music play. I just wanna dance the night away. Right here, where I'm gonna stay. All night long. Ooh, we let the music play on. Just until I feel this misery is gone. Move and kick and groove and keep the music strong. On and 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 on.
Barry White. How good would you be at looking after yourself on this island, Omar? Could you build somewhere to live? Are you good with your hands at making things?
No, I'm very bad because I never had to do anything with my hands. And I think it would be a very good thing for me if I had to.
If you were pushed, you could do it.
I think I could, yes, because look, for instance, I can't sing to save my life. And yet when I had to sing in Funny Girl, I managed fairly decently.
Yes. Would you try to escape? Or would you settle down and wait?
I don't know if I wouldn't, after a while, long to get back to music and activity and civilization, as it were, to hustle and bustle again. On the other hand, I think one might get used to it and say, oh, this is beautiful. What was I doing all these years in the middle of all that pollution and all?
What have you got for us next?
Well, I've got Gilbert Bécaud. I think he's wonderful, and especially when you see him perform, I think he's one of the greatest living performers. And this is a particularly beautiful song, which is very French, but French in a way that can be understood by everybody. And it's got beautiful words. It's called Seul sur son étoile, which means alone on one star.
Quand on est seul sur son étoile et qu'on regarde passer les trains, quand on trinque avec des minables, qu'on dort avec des moins que rien, quand on réécrit à sa mère et qu'on pense aux économies, quand on invente des prières pour des bons dieux de comédie, c'est qu'on a besoin de quelqu'un, de quelque chose ou d'un ailleurs que l'on n'a pas, que l'on n'a pas. C'est qu'on a besoin de quelqu'un ou d'un amour ou bien d'un copain que l'on attend depuis longtemps.
Gilbert Bécaud, Seul sur son étoile.
That's lovely.
Now we come to your last record.
Well, to end up, I'd really like to have the voice of my other favorite lady, because this particular one, I made a film with her, and I personally was very much in love with her while we were making the film. This is Barbra Streisand, and the song is actually from Funny Girl, from the film, and it's called Don't Train on My Parade.
Don't tell me not to live, just sit and putter. Life's candy and the sun's a ball of butter. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. Don't tell me not to fly, I simply got to. If someone takes a spill, it's me and not you. Who told you you're allowed to rain on my parade? I'll march my band out, I'll beat my drum, and if I'm found out, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. I guess I didn't make it, but whether I'm the rose of sheer perfection, or freckle on the nose of life's complexion, the cinder or the shiny apple of its eye, I gotta fly once, I gotta try once, only can die once, right, sir? Ooh, life is juicy, juicy, and you see I'm gonna have my bite, sir. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march, my heart's a drummer. Don't bring around a cloud to rain on my parade. I'm gonna live and live now. Get what I want, I know how. One roll for the whole shebang. One throw that bell with no clang. Eye on the target and wham. One shot, one gunshot and bam! Hey, Mr. Honesty, here I am. I'll march my band down. I'll beat my drum, and if I'm found out, your turn at bat, sir. At least I didn't fake it, hat, sir. Guess I didn't make it. Get ready for me, love, 'cause I'm a comer. I simply gotta march my heart to drum. I know, nobody, no, nobody is gonna rain on my
Barbra Streisand. If you could take only one disc, which would it be?
I think finally that I'd take Frank Sinatra, because he represented many years for me of listening, and all the other singers come and go, and Frank Sinatra stays.
Frank Sinatra all the way. And one luxury to take with you. One thing of no practical use.
Can I have a deck of cards, please?
Of course.
Yes, that's what I want. I don't think I could live without a deck of cards in my hand.
You'd better have the full set, as many decks, a whole crate of decks
Yes,
of cards.
I need that very badly.
And one book, and we've got a little list with the Bible and Shakespeare are already on the island, and we don't allow multi-volume encyclopedias.
No, I'd like to have The Little Prince by Saint-Exupéry. I suppose it's called Le Petit Prince.
Yes, The Little Prince.
The Little Prince, because I think in that book is all the things that I believe in life. All the philosophy of life for me is summed up in that beautiful little story of the little prince who was stranded also in the desert on a sort of island of his own.
And we'll let you take one picture as well, one painting.
Yes, I think I'd take a poster of Toulouse-Lautrec with all the Moulin Rouge girls, because I think I get very lonely there, not seeing any girls at all. And I think I'll look at that poster. There's lovely 19th century type girls with all the frills lifting their legs up doing the cancan.
And thank you, Omar Sharif, for letting us hear your desert island disc.
Thank you so much, Roy.
Goodbye, everyone.